Hello and greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Tony Mobley. Today, Conversation with Tony Mobley is simulcast on both YouTube and LinkedIn Live. Welcome, radio listeners in Cincinnati, Ohio on Z98. You can hear us on the radio by going to z98fm.com. On Conversations with Tony Mobley today, I am talking with Ms. Keely Dunn, the Discord coach. Some say the queen of Discord. This is episode 96 of Conversations with Tony Mobley. Thanks to everyone for being part of the journey. I want to thank the team behind Conversation with Tony Mobley for all of your hard work. But guess what? Here I go again. ConversationwithTonyMobley.com is where you can find our interactive chat. It's called Mukana. It's courtesy of Alex Lindsay and 090. But listen, this is an opportunity for you to ask your questions. You can ask your questions in Mukana. The beauty of it is that your question can be voted up and down. Why is that important? That will almost guarantee that in our hour conversation with Keely, that your question will get asked. So that is the reason why we want you to participate and go to conversationwithTonyMobley.com and ask your question so it can be voted up and down and be part of our conversation. And if you don't want to do that, you can ask your question in the YouTube chat. So here we go. We are now getting ready to have this great conversation, and I am so flattered that I have the opportunity to talk with the Discord coach, Miss Keely Dunn. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Keely.
My absolute pleasure. What a nice intro. And boy, do I love your voice. It's so radio appropriate. I feel like I need to really speak through my diaphragm now just to match your dulcet tones. My
Well,
goodness.
thank you so much. And we're going to get started with the very first question. Who is Keely Dunn?
Oh, that's hard. How does everybody else answer this one? I'm going to say that I'm a dual entrepreneur, a full stack business person, and a partial stack human building in public. So I am, I think, a work in progress that has been progressing in some really interesting ways in the last little while, a little bit coming through office hours, but a lot of it just coming from my participation and my growth in my own communities. And I'm sure we're going to touch a lot on that later.
So, since you brought up office hours, you brought it up first. So I'm going to let you, for those who are listening, tell us what you perceive office hours to be and how you got involved.
Oh, how I got involved. That was really interesting. We can blame Rabbi David Paskin for that one. He mentioned my name. I'd been in the server for a little while as an observer. I don't like to say lurker. Lurker is a rather pejorative term for people who don't speak up in online communities. But there I was in office hours as an observer. I'd gone through the over the hills and under the dales and all that sort of thing to get in. And someone wanted me to see the plentiferious, the multitudinous channels and categories and all those things in there. And I was pretty blown away as a Discord coach, seeing everything that was there. And then one day, Rabbi David recommended me as a guest to come on and talk about Discord. And I appeared on Boxing Day of all days. Why not? What a present. And I really didn't know what office hours was. And I think I'm still learning. So from that first guest appearance, I guess it went pretty well. I went into after hours and stuck around for, I think I was there for about 6 hours. It was ridiculous. I had so much fun and really enjoyed getting to know everybody. And then I came on as a panelist a few times and then quickly got trained up as a question reader. And I don't mean to spill the beans or anything, but rumor has it I might be a host at some point. So we're still working on that. I'm still trying to get all the pieces together and figure out the run of show. For me, what I really admire about office hours is how just well organized it is. It is a very full-fledged, very fulsome project as a broadcast. And if I were to step into that kind of role, I'd want to make sure I do it just absolute credit. And that means for me to have a very set out run of show and that sort of thing, especially the first few times. And then maybe I could wing it later.
Absolutely. And I just want to share that officehours.global is the website for Office Hours, which is hosted by created. Original host was Alex Lindsay, and he is, as Keely said, moving to create and sponsor more hosts for the community. And this is an exciting time to be a part of Office Hours community. And so if you're curious about Keely, if you're curious about Tony Mobley, if you're curious about so many people that are professional and just regular people, check out Office Hours because it's a global community where no one is left behind. Our next question is from Mr. John Preto, I believe.
It sure is.
Yes. And this question is, who is your favorite personality on Office Hours? LOL.
LOL. John Pareto setting me up. Obviously, it's you, John. How could I answer this question any differently? There are so many fascinating people in that group, and I'm really enjoying getting to know them. When I'm on the air, I've gotten lots of giggles from TJ Asher. He's been training me up as a host, and we were laughing away yesterday. Tony, I think you were in the training room when we were doing things. And yeah, it's quite hysterical. Roy is one of my friends in the back, Roy Myers, and Josh Kaufman, who is healing up right now and getting himself to full health. And let's see, Liberty White. I'm a huge fan of Liberty. Just knowing that she's there every Monday makes me very excited to tune in and get in there, because as you know, if you can see it, you can be it. And when I see a woman leading from the front in tech, that is exactly where I want to be. So I appreciate so many people. And of course, John, you're quite the guy. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, John Preto, for your question. And I just want to add that I think you and Liberty are two of the sharpest women that I've had the pleasure of interacting with on social media, and I just want to let you know that. We have a question, I believe it's from Lou Perez. He says, what resources would you recommend for someone who is new to social media and wants to get started in Discord?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to parse it out and separate it into one little sort of precursor, because to me, Discord is not social media. It's a community platform. And the reason that that's an important distinction for me is that for the most part, I'd say 98% of the time, Discord is a place where you enter in and you find a finite group of people who are sort of playing behind a walled garden. So it's more private, it's more safe in a lot of cases than sort of the Wild West that you might find out on social media, where so many more things are public and your interactions with people are out in the open. And so that to me is important, because a lot of people think that they can start a Discord server, for example, and that people are just going to find them. They're just, people are just going to float in, but they won't, because there's a wall up. So you need to have a system in place and a purpose in place that invites people to come into your Discord community. And once you have that in mind, that is going to fuel your journey and get you going on the right pathway. So let's see, for someone who's new to Discord, I mean, one of the best places to go is any of the socials that I happen to host, Discord Coach. You can find me on Twitter, find me on YouTube. I'm still working on getting lots of resources up because I've been so busy teaching people, but my own Discord server, which you can find at discordcoach.com/DS. That is a great place. You can go join there, and I will be more than happy to hold your hand and show you the ropes and show you all the neat things there. So I remember, I can tell the story later about how I was scared about Discord when I first experienced it, when it was first introduced to me. So I know what it's like. I remember very clearly, and I can tell you all right now that there is nothing to be scared of, and everybody can learn this platform.
Do you see it as a communication platform as well as I, I agree with you. I don't think that it's a social media platform at all. I see it as a communication, and as I shared with you earlier, that I'm using it with Conversation with Tony Mobley, and that's where we have our meetings. That's where we have conversation about the things that who our guests are going to be, and things that we're planning in the future. We're doing all of that in Discord, and so it's really kind of amazing, the idea of a regular guy who's in Atlanta having a Discord channel where he is actually interacting with people all over the world, and it's kind of funny, but it's amazing, and if I can do it with the help of the coach, I think anybody can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's one of the neat parts about Discord that people are maybe not aware of when they first get into it, because they think of Discord, they see it and they think it is it's a bulletin board. So you can have your channels with text conversations that are all chronological, and you just roll through that, and your text channels are separated by categories and subjects and that sort of thing. But there's so much more to Discord than that. And the biggest feature that really won me over and that really got me passionate about it as a community building and a friendship building place were voice channels. And so you can pop into a voice channel, and because you're pre-authorized, you've already given your password at the door, you've given the secret sauce to the doorman, and they've let you through, and you're already inside, and you can pop into the voice channels that you have the permission to join. And it's like plunking down in a community house, and there's a big common room, and you can just plunk yourself down on a sofa and be like, hey, what's going on? And other people can pop in and just start talking to you. You can play games in there. You can share videos. You can share files. You can share all kinds of things all at the same time. You can have all these conversations. You can have a text conversation going on to supplement what's going on in the voice in the video chat. And it's so casual and fun, and it just feels organic for me. And so that I absolutely love. Not only can you do that inside a server, but you can do that via direct message. So you and I, Tony, one day you're like, oh, I really need to ask Keely a question about Discord forum channels. I don't know about it, and I'm going to see. You could send me a text and say, hey, Keely, you available? Can we voice chat? And I'll say, yeah. And you can literally hit the phone button at the top of our DMs, and bang, we're going to have a conversation just like this, with our video, with our microphones. I could be walking the dog and I could join in the voice chat that way, or I could join with a full setup like this. I mean, there's all kinds of options. And that way, I think absolutely you've got Discord as a really lightweight and easy to use voice communication, text communication, video communication, all the communications facility as well. So that's really good of you to point out. And it's one of the things I think people don't even know Discord can do.
Amazing. Amazing. I think this question is from Josh Kaufman, and I'm going to read the part that I can see. It says, can you speak to your tenacity to follow through? What
proceed?
What does your persona most manifest itself?
Yeah, the precursor to that, when is Keely Dunn? That is quite funny. Oh, what is my tenacity to follow through? There are so many stories now. See, the fun part about getting old is that you realize that you have stories to tell about the things and the experiences that have formed you into who you are. And I've realized that I am the girl who now cannot quit. And whether that's through sheer stupidity or it's an actual formation of, determination and stubbornness, I really just don't quit anymore. And so I think my tenacity, that where that comes from, where something gets hard and I just think, I gotta do this, I absolutely have to do this. Or maybe I come into a brand new community and I don't know anybody and I misstep and I say the wrong things and I make mistakes and I feel uncomfortable and I'm the only woman in a space or something like that. And I just say, no, I'm not quitting. No, I have to do this. I absolutely have to do this. And I think it's because I learned probably a while back, and this is through the sport of field hockey, which I'm very involved with, is that was the time I had the most autonomy in my life. I was truly expressing myself as a human being when I didn't quit, because it was all through my own self-determination that I was achieving something, that I was receiving messages that I was not supposed to be doing. So that's where my tenacity comes from. When my persona most manifests itself, I think Josh knows. It's in a private Zoom call on a Sunday night with some peanut butter whiskey and and good company. So that's a story for another time.
Okay. Thank you, Josh, for that great question. And I also want to say, I would be remiss if I did not. I talked about you and Liberty being sharp women. Um, I have someone that's actually in my ear, and I know that's secret sauce, and you're not supposed to share that. But Laura Thompson, I didn't forget you. You're a sharp woman too.
That's right, Laura. You get in there. You don't let him trash that.
I just want to make sure you know that. I appreciate you. Okay. The next question is, how did you get started in Discord?
Oh, that's awesome. I love this story. So it was 2021, I guess it would be around, exactly 2 years ago, around this time of year. And I had started a subscription membership for my other business. I mentioned I was a dual entrepreneur, and my other business is FH Umpires, which is field hockey umpiring education. Hot business. I know y'all are like, whoa, I need to get a piece of that action. You can't have it. It's all mine. But I was really struggling with my membership because I was trying to offer regular membership mentoring meetings where we would get together and I would give coaching advice and I would talk to the umpires about what they had experienced in their matches, or we'd have watch parties and things like that. And I was trying to do that through that very professional platform called Facebook. Was not working at all. There were just absolutely crickets in my Facebook group. And I was so discouraged about it. And just like I often do, I was just talking about my problems openly on a YouTube live stream on my channel. And one of the members, a fairly senior member who had been a moderator on my YouTube channel for some time, he said, "You need a Discord." And I said, "Yeah, I sure do. But what's a Discord?" I had no idea what he was talking about. We are literally live streaming. And of course, I'm very squirrel oriented. So I just pulled up Discord on my browser while I'm supposed to be paying attention to my live stream and went, "Oh no, you got to be kidding me. This is it's confusing. It's dark. It's got all these, no, this isn't for me. Thanks though. That was really great." And he said, okay. And then this person, Niels, came back the next week and he said, "Keely, hey, you need a Discord." And I said, "Okay, we had this conversation. I appreciate your contribution, but not for me." A few more weeks later, "Keely, hey, how about that Discord?" I said, "Look, I don't think you understand." He said, "No, I think you can get this. How about I set up a server for you? I'll invite you in and show you around." And there was another member of the community who was also into Discord as well. And so these two people brought me into this Discord server and started showing me around. And we popped into a voice channel, and I realized that the senior member of my community who's a moderator was a 15-year-old from the Netherlands, and he was accompanied by an 18-year-old computer science student. And I thought, okay, I understand what I'm in for here. But these two gentlemen were giving me some really important life wisdom. They showed me around, and I started to get excited because I asked them questions like, wait, okay, so we're in a voice channel. Could I share a screen in here? And could I show a match and talk over it so that all the umpires who are in this voice channel hear me describing what I'm seeing as an umpire coach and why the umpire is making that call? And, oh, did you notice that thing? And all these sort of things. And they said, yeah, you can absolutely do that. And I thought, oh, could we have a channel where people post their own graphics, their charts of where their positioning was in a particular game, and I could get them feedback on that? Yeah, you could do that. And so when I started thinking about the purposes and the value that I could deliver to my community with these features that were being shown to me, my mind just went, I was so excited. But I knew the biggest problem was going to be, are my people going to want to do this? So I asked other senior members of my community. I had other moderators. I had people who had been paying my membership subscription for about a year at that point. And I said, hey, I need a favor. Would y'all come over to this Discord place? You'll have to set up an account and all this kind of thing. Hey, it's all new to me too, so don't worry about it. And let me know what you think. And we'll have some conversations in there and just poke around and just see what you think. And let me tell you, I have members. I am very popular in the 50 to 65 British men demographic. And I thought, no way, they're not gonna do Discord at all. Brought all these people in, and they all loved it. And within 3 weeks, they were like, Keely, let's go. This is the spot for us. This is the spot for you. This is the spot for FH umpires. And I obeyed the word of the people. So off we went, and we let the server grow organically. I checked today, I have 900 humans in there. So you can have a number of bots who are also members of your server, but I have 900 verified humans who are in there. And it's just such a fantastic place to be. And when I achieved that, or when we achieved that as a community and had all this vibrancy and all these conversations, and all these people were growing and getting to know each other and creating connections with each other that didn't depend on me, I thought, who shouldn't have this? Like, everybody needs to have this experience, because it truly is joyful. It's growth. It's everything you could possibly want as a business person or just a regular human being. So that's how I got started in Discord, and I'm not looking back.
Okay, so that brings us to our next question. You sort of answered it before, but I want to get at it a different way. And this question is, what is Discord and why should I use it?
Tony, you should use it because it's a fast and easy way to build relationships with the people that matter to you, and a place where you can deliver value. If you're in a position where you're teaching people, where you're offering them experiences, when you're trying to unite and combine and grow something bigger than is just yourself, Discord is probably going to be a great place to do that in. And so for me, as an educator, I guess that's the easiest way to call myself instead of field hockey umpire educator. We can leave all the other stuff off there. I am trying to not only impart knowledge as an expert in my field, but I'm trying to teach other people how to be experts. And I'm trying to offer support to a group of people who often feel very isolated, who can take a lot of abuse at times, but who have genuine drive and have big goals in serving a game, a sport that we love so much. And all I have to do is interact with them regularly and give them some encouragement, sometimes a little smack up the rear, whatever it takes to get people feeling motivated, change their mindset, give them some more information. And not only can I do that, but so can everybody else in the group. And I'm teaching other people how to be leaders and how to be coaches. And that's the real power of a community platform. There's lots of places you can do this. I'm not going to lie to you, Tony. It's not like Discord is the only community platform out there. There's Circle, there's Heartbeat, you can use WhatsApp groups, you can use Slack, you can do all these things. But for me, the combination of features that you have in Discord perfectly suited what I was interested in doing, and I think suits a lot of communities.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. I want you to share your information again so that people can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. The best place right now, I just tried to reach my website and my SSL certificate is a little bit on the fritz. So apologies for that. Usually you can go to discordcoach.com and find everything, but I am all over the socials at Discord Coach. So if you want to find me on Twitter, Instagram, my YouTube is up under Discord Coach, or you can pop into my server. So if you would like to go sign up for your own Discord account, or if you already have one, just hop on over to discordcoach.com/DS and you will be a part of my server. I'm waiting for some pings. I'm waiting for people to start hopping in there and joining my server. And you can connect with me there. So don't be shy. Honestly, it's not as scary as it may look. And if it doesn't look scary to you, awesome. Let's go.
And you heard it first here. She is inviting you to participate in her Discord. And I dare you to give it a try. I dare you. And we have a question from Kyle Hammond of Chicago. Will you be doing more Discord labs teaching folks the wonders of Discord?
Absolutely. I'm trying right now to configure my time. I'm a little bit stretched in a lot of ways. So I'm trying to figure out how to maximize this. And I think what I'm going to be doing is doing those walkthrough labs probably within my Discord server, just so I can reach also the people who have joined me from other places and just bring everybody into one spot. So maybe I can do one lab, as you guys like to call them, a week. I just like to call it a gathering, a meeting, a sit down, a confab, whatever you want to say, and do walkthroughs of features and Q&A. I think that the best part of Discord voice channels that I would be holding these kind of demos in, the best part is that you can interrupt me and ask questions. And I remember I was doing one where Rabbi David was also part of, and he kept saying, sorry, I have a question. I apologize. Can I ask this? And I'm like, yes, this is exactly what we should be doing. This is fully interactive. Let's get everything going. And so for me, that is the beauty of all of this. It's organic, it's spontaneous, it's casual, and we can just have a lot of fun learning together.
I'm just curious, 900 humans, how many
900.
moderators do you need?
Oh, I don't know how many I need, because I do think I have enough. One of my challenges is that I do have a very global audience. I have server members from Chile and Australia and South Africa and India and a ton of people from England. So I want to have maybe a little bit better of a time zone spread out, but I do have people, moderators in many locations. And between the Europeans and myself, we usually get everybody, somebody's awake at some point. How many moderators do I have? I think I have about 15. And that seems to be enough. But hey, let's be totally fair here. My FH umpires community is made up of a bunch of umpires. I mean, if you want to find a group of people who are super into rules and following them and enforcing them, start a community for umpires, because if one person steps out of line, it's like, whoop, everybody, you don't have to be a moderator. Everybody's in there saying, nope, that's not what we do here. This is the way that we handle this situation. And it's just so hilarious. I absolutely love it.
Fantastic. We have a question from Zachary Sorensen of Brunswick, Queensland, Australia. His question is, funny question, what is a bot?
That's not a funny question. It's a good question. A bot is simply a little application that acts almost like a person inside your server, and it can just do some automated functions for you. So, for example, one of my favorite bots is called Sesh, and it is basically your event planner. So you can use Sesh as a bot to schedule events that will be displayed in certain ways in your text channels. People can RSVP to those events, and those events can be controlled by how many people you'd like to have there. People can set their reminders. Those events can then be synced through automatically to their calendars, whether it's a Google Calendar or elsewise, an ICS subscription file. And you can add information in those events that tie to, say, the voice channel that you're going to be holding that event in. So a bot can take care of those functions for you instead of you sitting there and typing out all the information and hoping that it all makes sense. It ties functions of the server and outside of the server together. So that's probably the easiest way to explain a bot. And these days, there are bots for AI that are creeping into servers. One of the biggest, actually, I'm pretty sure it's by far the biggest server in Discord land is Midjourney. And I'm just going to pop over there to Midjourney and just see how big it is right now. It has 14 million. No, that's 16 million. Sorry, let me put my glasses on. 16 million. 14,566,000 members in it. It is a massive server. I don't go in there very much because it's so big. But that's a good example of how, some advanced technologies and the cutting edge of things are involved in Discord. So if you're not in the Midjourney server, I'm not sure if you're even on Discord these days.
Thank you so much for that, Keely. Roscoe Jones of Madison, Indiana asks, what rules of field hockey have generated the most discussion in Discord?
All of them. All of them. There is not a rule in the book, and we have 14 rules. So it doesn't seem like very many. Some of our rules have several subclauses, though, and lots of little guidance underneath them. But really, there isn't a rule that my community isn't interested in completely dissecting. One of the hardest ones is what we call the aerial ball rule. So it's become very common as a skill in our sport these days, in the modern game, as we like to call it, whatever day we're talking about it, to chuck passes high into the air using a scoop or a flick. And some of these passes can go 70, 80 meters down the pitch. Very skilled players can throw them really, really far. And the rules around how they go up, how they're received, who can intercept, what's dangerous, what's not dangerous, that is one of the hottest topics. And I actually did a live stream probably about a month and a half ago now with the England GB captain and an international coach from Portugal and my friend Ernst Bart from the hockey site. And he does what I do, but for coaches online. And we had a great conversation around that. And then that inspired a whole bunch of conversation more in the Discord. So that's sort of one of the hot topics. And I'm really glad you asked. And I'm not sure if you are glad that you asked now, because you've just heard a lot about the aerial rule.
Well, thank you, Roscoe Jones, for that great question. And we have another question from Roscoe Jones. And it says, what is a grade 1 rating for field hockey umpire?
Somebody's reading my bio. I love it, Roscoe. So the grade 1 rating doesn't exist anymore because obviously the only great system is a system that you change over time. But when I was active, I've been retired now since 2016. But when I was active, the rating system for internationals went just basic FIH, which is the acronym for our international federation. FIH, promising list, grade 1, world development panel, and world panel. And it's a pyramid, and a very, very wide pyramid at the bottom, and then it goes smaller and smaller and smaller. So at the time that I was a grade 1 umpire, I was in the top 20 umpires in the world. And I'd gotten there after, well, I'm not sure how, can't remember exactly where I was on my international caps when I got there, but I ended up retiring with 92 senior caps and about 118 matches overall. And I was really aiming to go all the way. I wanted to get up to the world panel, and I wanted to be appointed to an Olympic Games and do big matches there, but I didn't quite reach that goal. But that's the good news about good coaches, is that you have this quest, this thirst inside you to understand why you didn't make it. And you want to make sure that everybody else gets their best opportunity to achieve the highest level that they possibly can. So that's what fuels me now as an umpire educator, is I want to make sure that everybody gets their chance to go to the world panel and go to an Olympic Games.
Thank you so much for that. And Josh Kaufman of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is back again. What is the key to the most obvious overlap between teaching, coaching, and on-camera presence? Presentation? How do you leave a lasting impression?
I swear a lot. No, I'm just kidding. How do I do it? I'm not really sure, other than what you've seen as you've been, watching the show and listening to me answer all of these great questions, that I really care. And in life, when I'm talking about, I don't know, the route that I took driving to get to work, or if I'm talking about anything else, I'm pretty normal. As soon as I start talking about something that I absolutely love, that I'm really passionate in, and that I know I can connect with other people about, and I can make them better in, I get really, really excited. I don't know if everybody is like this, but I can't help but to become like this, and super animated, and just really want to reach right through this camera and just grab everybody and just say, hey, we can do this. And I think that's what drives me. The presentation comes from passion and just real honest caring. And I just want everybody to be able to do really cool stuff with their lives, because that's what's given me the most satisfaction. Not doing those things myself, but watching people that I've been able to work with. I've had the privilege of getting to know and watching their journeys. That's where my biggest source of happiness has ever been in my life. And that's what drives my presentation, I guess.
And I'm guilty of it when it comes to just talking about technology in general. My nieces and nephews and children so almost run the other way, because I have so much enthusiasm, and I want to share with them. Now some of them may be watching tonight, and they know we have a family meeting on every Sunday, and we've been doing it ever since the pandemic. And there's 7 of us siblings, and their children and grandchildren are of the age that they can participate in technology. And I'm always telling them all of the wonderful things that I'm learning in office hours. And so now I'll be sharing with them about Discord, and then
let's go.
They almost run in the other direction, and I can't help it. I feel your pain. I understand when you get excited about something, and you just want everybody to know and participate and share. And I tell you, a question that has come up for me is that I'm working with a house of worship that is literally 100 miles away from where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that maybe we need to have a Discord for that house of worship. I think that it might be a good tool for us to use. So thank you. You inspired me. And again, I'm being transparent in that initially, when the first conversation with Tony Mobley Discord was created,
Mhm.
There was a Discord that was created for the house of worship that I'm working with, but I just said, they're not going to be interested. They're not going to want to. And so after our conversation today, I know that it will definitely be a benefit, and I'm going to work on getting them to participate in that already created that has not been used house of worship Discord. So thank you, Keely, for sharing everything that you have thus far.
No worries.
Where did you get your training as a sports official?
Where did I get my training? In the school of life. Uh, I think that a lot of my umpiring training really did come about from the certification program that we have here in Canada. That was sort of the bedrock where I learned the rules. But that's sort of the interesting part, is that you really learn on the job, as it were, especially when you come from a country like Canada, which isn't big in the sport. and I'm sure there's a lot of people from North America who are listening to this right now and sort of all wondering what the heck field hockey is. Well, don't worry, Google will help you out. But it really is one of those cases where I don't know why I got so passionate about it, other than it was this thing that I tried at a very difficult moment in my life. I was 14 years old and I'd started a brand new high school, and my mother had just passed away. And when we talk about the whole story about my tenacity and how I don't want to quit, when my mom passed away, I went from living with her and in her household, and then moved back in with my dad and my brother along with. And my dad and I had a terrible relationship. We were not on good terms. And I had obviously suffered a really massive loss. And then I started at a brand new high school where I had no friends, and I was lost. I lost babysitting. I lost marching band. I lost dance lessons, jazz and tap. I lost piano lessons. All these things, I felt like I'd quit. And I'd quit them because my mom had gotten sick and then had died. And I was just sort of floating along in this. I don't even know where I was. And I saw a poster on up on the hallway in my high school that was looking for players to try out for field hockey. And I sort of looked at it and I thought, well, I'm 4'8" and I can't make basketball, can't make volleyball. I'm not really that great of a runner. Maybe I should try this field hockey thing. And I went out to training, and I'll tell you right now, the only reason I made it on the team was that only 14 girls tried out for the team, and we needed 14 for the team. So I made it as one of the last players. But I remember we were out for a run, and the coach had dropped back in order to make sure that I didn't get lost as we were running around the school grounds. And there I was, just puffing away at the back, not very fit, hadn't been very active, really kind of struggling, wasn't talking to anybody. And she sort of looked over at me, and she was just a very grizzled, unemotional woman. Looked over at me, and I was terrified. She said, "You're not going to quit, are you?" And I thought, is this a rhetorical question or am I? And I said, no, I'm not. It was just the first thing that jumped out at me. And she nods her head with approval, and then she ran with me the rest of the way. And that had such an effect on me, because all of a sudden, in a moment, I had expressed a decision that I was going to be the person who didn't quit. And that's what took me through everything else. And I think that's why I glommed onto field hockey as a sport that was going to be just such a central part of my identity. And then, oh, here I am 36 years later, and I'm absolutely still knee deep in it and all that kind of thing. So I think I've just skipped some of your follow-up questions as to how I became, who I am. But that was a big part. And my sports training, back to your actual question about how did I get my sports officials training, it came from all kinds of experiences in my life. Going through law school and being a lawyer helped me be able to argue with people and not take it personally and not be emotional about it. Doing hard things like going into court and losing a case stopped me from feeling afraid of failure, because if you can lose a court case and still live and wake up the next day and go, oh, I can try this again, you can recover from anything. And being in drama class when I was in high school, that helped me learn how to emote, how to speak, to not be afraid being on stage and wanting to speak to people. So everything in your life trains you to be an official. And as I like to say, being an umpire trains you for the rest of your life as well.
Wow. First, let me say thank you so much for sharing that that experience. That's amazing. An experience. I really appreciate you sharing that with all of us. I want to share a bit of it's not similar story. By no means is it as touching as your story, but I think it's important for people to understand the importance of hanging in there. And so I was in middle school and I was doing very well academically, and they had tryouts for the basketball team. And I would say average height, but I had never played organized basketball before. And I was kind of a mess, but I had a lot of energy. And so I would come home every day from tryouts, and my mother would look at me and she'd say, how's it going? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't think I'm going to make it, but I'm going to keep trying. And I kept trying and I kept trying. And so this took about 2 weeks. And so after the second week, they posted the list of the players who had made the team. And so I was on the team. And so I played, I really had never, like I said, I never played organized basketball before. I really didn't have much of a shot, but whoever the best player was on the other team, I would be in their face. I would not let them shoot. I was just a gnat. I was just in their way. And so when the season was over, no, the season wasn't quite over, but it was almost over. So the best player said, I'm glad you, the coach decided to keep you on the team, because he wasn't going to keep you. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, we just needed somebody on the team that had a good GPA, and that's the only reason that you were on the team. And I was like, what?
Oh,
But what I learned from that, Keely, was that even though I didn't have much of a shot, my tenacity, my desire to do what I could do, and that was be the defensive stopper. So that's what I got known as, the defensive stopper.
mm-hmm.
And guess what? When I went to high school, I actually turned out to be a very good basketball player. But if I had not decided to be that person who was not going to give up, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
not give up, not give in, then I wouldn't have had the great experiences that I did have as a pretty good basketball player. So again, I want to thank you so much for sharing that touching story.
Yeah, no,
It's
and I
amazing.
love your story too, because that is exactly it. And Tony, I went through my field hockey career as a player. I wasn't very good. I was never very good. I'm a thoroughly mediocre player. And sure, I played at my university. I played for Alberta, the senior team or played through the Alberta ranks for 16 years. And I'm just not that great. I'm not athletically talented. I don't have great athleticism, but I know I'm smart. And I know that and that's how I got into umpiring, really, was because I knew the rules better than anybody else, because I needed every edge just to keep up with all the fast, strong, and much more skillful players that I was marking. And I was the same way, Tony. I was a defender. And I would get in their face. I would trip them up when the umpire wasn't looking. I would give them a little wood shampoo in the back. I would, anything I could do to stop them from getting the ball and scoring a goal on my team, I would do it. And I did it with pride. And then when I got the chance to hit the ball, I hit the ball as hard as I could right at them, because that's the only skill I had. And people noticed that. People noticed that I was smart. They knew that I was manipulating the rules, and I was doing everything I could right around the edges just to, basically cheating to win. And when I got approached to be an umpire, the person who recruited me had never seen me with a whistle. And I'd been umpiring club hockey for, I don't know, maybe 9 years at that point. And he walked up to me at the senior national championships, very, very tall man named Ian Gibson. And I had just come off from scoring the only goal I had ever scored at a national championship. I practically tore my shirt off and whirled it around my head for a couple laps. I was so excited. And he said, "Oh, so you finally scored a goal. When are you going to quit playing and start umpiring like a real person?" And I just looked at this guy, like, who are you? You've never even seen me umpire. I don't even know your name. And he said, "I've been watching you play for the last several years, and you're the best cheat I've ever seen." And I was like, "Hi. Okay, you just gave me a compliment." And he said, "Yeah, you need to be an umpire." And I said, "Why would I want to do that? Have you seen the clothes that you guys wear? You're not very attractive, And he said, "You could be better than all of the women who have just been umpiring your matches." And I said, "Tell me more." He knew exactly how to work me. Just give me some flattery, tell me that I'm going to be awesome. And then he said, "You could be an international umpire." It's like, huh, international, hey? All right, now you got me interested. So that's how I got into it. So my tenacity of trying to be the smartest player and being willing to do whatever it took in order to win the game opened up other opportunities and showed other people, where my true strengths really lied, which were not on the playing field, but actually with a whistle in my hand. So thank you for that story that leads into all the other possibilities and opportunities that are opening. And I'm sure you had lots of great experiences that and then opened up because you built yourself into being a very good basketball player. So love that.
Thank you so much again for sharing your story. What social media do you use and why?
Oh boy. So with Discord Coach, I don't do enough of any of it. I do like the Twitters though. That's my favorite platform, not because not because I like Elon Musk, but because it's where people who coach other people are to be found, and where they're sharing knowledge and where you can really have an impact exchanging conversations like that. I've received more cold calls, as it were, cold DMs off Twitter than, anywhere else by far. And that's just where I find the people who really see the possibility of building community and what they can do with their impact. That's where I found them. So with Discord Coach, that's one of the big platforms, and YouTube is really my favorite for both Discord Coach and FH umpires. Not because I have a face for video, but because everything I want to talk about is very visually orienting. So I want to be able to demonstrate what a Discord server looks like and how you click here and what this looks like. And, oh, this is this error message. And then with umpiring, I'm able to show and lead people through match scenarios and, the expression on a player's face and listening to the audio while this match is going on. And so for me, the power of video that you can find on YouTube is just, is just the best platform for me. And that's where I get most of my discoverability, actually.
I'm not going to let you get away with saying that you don't have a face. And I don't think that gentleman that's in that house with you would agree with that. So,
thank you. Thank you.
All right. So what is next for Keely Dunn?
World domination? No, I have a lot of dreams about what I'm going to be able to do with FH umpires. And through pursuing those, it's going to help teach me and really push the possibilities of what Discord can do. So I am trying to build the strongest, most prestigious, I guess, little private umpiring academy I possibly can, and just build an army of amazing humans that help teach our sport exactly what our role is as an officials, and to be able to elevate our game to be the best it can possibly be. So in using Discord to do that, I'm looking at trying to stay on top of all of the trends. Discord loves to change things, just whoop, whoop. They're just popping away with the new features, and this comes out and that comes out, and you're just sort of blindsided by everything. So for Discord Coach, I want to be able to show people all of the possibilities that they can have in their communities. So it's really important for me to be able to learn how other people's communities work, how other people want to lead, and what kind of value that they're going to be able to give to the people in their communities. So for me, that is the process, and that lifelong journey of learning and growing and improving and building other people. That's what's next for me.
Thank you so much for that. You are speaking to the world. What do you want the world to know?
Umpires, referees, officials, they're awesome. And they're human beings. They're people who make mistakes, and they are not out there to ruin anybody's day. By enforcing rules well and doing the best that they can, they are trying to provide the best sporting experience in every sport. So that's one of the big messages that I want people to know. And I guess the other thing is, if you aren't part of a community, if you don't know what you'd want to do, what is the longing that you have inside you? What is the thing that you most want to learn? What is the connection you most want to make? And build your community to serve you. And when you do that, you are not going to be alone. There are going to be tons of people out there who want the same thing for you. In building FH umpires, I realized that my isolation in being a top field hockey umpire internationally, and wanting to improve and wanting to figure out how I could get to the top, this is something that everybody in my community is looking for and searching for. And they want that support, and they want that network, and they want to know what the best way to approach this problem is, and what are the tactics and the strategies, and what's the latest interpretations. And when I realized that my longing and my search for that was exactly what my people were looking for, that's when I was able to build an awesome community. So take the thing that you are searching for and lead it yourself. And the sky will not even be the limit for you, because you're just going to blow by it.
Thank you, Keely Dunn. One more shout out. How do people reach you?
Find me on all of the socials, Discord Coach. And you can join my Discord server at discordcoach.com/DS, which stands for Discord server. You can see the recursiveness in that. And I would love to see you over there. Come and introduce yourself. Let me know what your interests are, what your experience with Discord is. I would love to take you through everything and get you moving on your own community building journey.
Thank you again, Keely Dunn, for this opportunity to have this conversation with you.
My pleasure, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you again. Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced by valued audio visual professionals who meet daily on Office Hours Global, hosted by Alex Lindsay. Thank you, Z98.1 FM, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube. Conversation with Tony Mobley is conversations with real people. Last week, we had a great conversation with radio personality, technology app developer, and Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington. Wannabe Marcel J. Thank you so much for being with us. When you have time, go back and look at the 90 plus episodes of Conversation with Tony Mobley. I think you will find something that you like and hopefully is helpful. Conversation with Tony Mobley can be heard on 98 100.1fm.com, our audience in Cincinnati. Thank you, Taylor Sunderhouse and the team behind Conversation with Tony Mobley for making this happen. Miss Keely Dunn, thank you for our conversation today and for doing the work that you do and for being the person who you are. Thank you so much. Conversation with Tony Mobley continues next week. I'm having a conversation with Rabbi David Paskin, Houses of Worship in the 21st Century. Come and join us in this conversation. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you again, Keely Dunn. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.